What is up, everybody? It is Interview Prince Reyno at Interview Prince on Twitter with at Enigma Beth on Twitter. Beth, we are here for we made it. Episode 10. We got two hands.
We got there.
And we do a much better job of this than someone else that might work for AEW used to do. But anyway, this was a great, she doesn't even know what I'm talking about. 10, get it?
I do. I'm scowling at you.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, so moving on. This is, guys, I say this every week. It feels like me and Beth say this every week. This was a great episode of Dynamite we're about to review.
Possibly by great, I mean one of the best we've had to date.
Correct. And I'm trying to think of ones to match it towards, as far as big returns, big payoffs, stuff like that. I can't think of one. I can think of the
only episode that I can think of that might top this is the Brody tribute episode.
Of course, that one.
But even taking away from the emotional side of that, because that was a brilliant episode, even if the wrestling made no sense from a storyline point of view, really. But it was a fantastic episode, and it is the only one I can think that would top this week's. Yeah,
and then, about a year ago, we had Brody and Matt debut on the same night. That was also another really, really good show. But we're going to get into this episode. And it was, like I said, start to finish, one of the best, if not the best episode of Dynamite we've ever seen. I'm tired of saying that. Actually, am I really tired of saying that? No, I want to say that. I want to say that every week. Right. So, Beth, this started off with a very good first match. Who was in this first match, as my screen dies?
It was Christian Cage's debut match in AEW against Frankie Kazarian, and this was Christian's first singles match in 7 years.
I was very excited because he is, like I've told you guys, the day he stepped foot in AEW is the day he became my favorite AEW wrestler over Kenny Omega. I'm sorry, but it happened. And I'm glad that he got to show what he could do, because he's 47 and he didn't show any signs that he was 47. Well, he did, actually. There was a couple times he looked like he was, looked like it was taking a toll on him a little bit. I'll be honest. But I think he did fine.
Yeah. And first singles match for 7 years. It's going to take time to get his body used to that level of, training's one thing, but actually being in the ring is completely different. And it takes time for your body to get used to that. But, this match was unbelievable.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was just amazing. And the false finishes, the last half of the match was wow. Wow.
Guys, go back and watch this. I know it's tough, as much wrestling as we watch, to go back and watch them, but watch this one again. It's only 20 minutes of your life. Watch it again. It's worth it. It's going to be some of the best 20 minutes of your life you've ever going to watching wrestling, at least. So from start to finish, they had a perfect partner for him to go up against, too, in his first match. And Frankie Kazarian, a guy he knows for a long time, a guy that's been in the ring with him many times. So I don't think they could have picked a better partner. And also a guy that's getting up there in years, but also looks phenomenal and also looks great. So both of them, they're jacked. They're in great shape for what age they are. And they both show that they can still have 5-star matches. Because I'm sorry, that's a 5-star match.
It was absolutely fantastic for an opening match of the show as well. What a treat for an opening match. And they both looked like they were really enjoying going up against each other. As much as it got a bit dirty towards the end and got very, very aggressive towards the end. At the start of the match, it just looked like two really good friends having a really, really, really good wrestling match. And it was really nice to see. Yeah.
And I can go on all day. I don't know about you. I don't want to bore people to death, but hey, great match. Please watch it. Very good. I really don't know what else to say. Just that I can't wait to see who he fights next, I guess, his next match. We're not going to get him every week. It's highly unlikely. We're going to get him every single week wrestling. But is it going to be a month before we see him again? I don't know. But it keeps the excitement there for me. I'm just waiting to see him again. So I think I tweeted out something like, at the end of that match, I said, they can do nothing the rest of the show. They can do absolutely nothing. And I'm happy. I'll go to bed happy. Yeah. I tweeted that after that match. Boy, did they do more.
It was a great start to the show. Yeah. But that still wasn't the best match in the show.
No, like I said, I
I will get to that later, but
yeah,
the whole show was absolutely fantastic, and this was an
right.
amazing way to start it.
Well, that to your point, or to our point, what we've been saying is the fact that you even have another match in the same show to go up against that to possibly be match of the night. Good Lord. After that match, Christian got the win as we expected. But he, looked great doing it. After that, we had a promo, which apparently was Sting and Darby on a pier.
I'm not sure if it was a pier or an overpass or something, but Darby was doing what Darby does best with his vignettes. It was a video package, basically Darby declaring war on Matt Hardy by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Which could be very interesting. We got the Darby with the Matt Hardy mask on, and the money doesn't solve all your issues, and that was kind of the whole message behind the vignette. And then it finished with Sting and Darby throwing cash off of either a pier or an overpass over the highway or something. It was a good little vignette. I like these Darby videos.
Yeah, a good little feud too that's popped up out of nowhere for us in the past couple of weeks is Big Money Matt and Darby. So, like she said, money doesn't solve all your problems, but it solves a lot of them. So that's why Big Money Matt's so happy still.
Money doesn't make you happy, but it does buy a jet ski, and most people with jet skis are pretty happy.
Yeah, and money also buys Darby any type of ramp or skateboard that he wants, so that makes him happy. So money does actually lead to happiness.
It helps.
Anyway.
It can certainly help, but it was a really nice little vignette from Darby, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes, because if Matt wants to be able to break another young up and rising star like he did Sammy, Darby's a pretty good bet.
Yeah. What about the longevity of Matt? I'm telling you, every week you just see how good he is. He was always my favorite Hardy Boy, but he just shows every single week how good he is, how many different things he can do. I think this week he even went from Big Money Matt to Broken Matt and BTE. Did you see BTE this week?
I haven't had a chance to watch BTE or Sammy's this week yet. But it's the Broken Matt Hardy is something with Sin kind of creeping in on BTE. He's back with the grapes and his slight addiction, which I would be very happy if this whole big money thing ends up re-breaking Matt Hardy. And we get the broken character back once crowds are back properly.
So I kind of spoiled it for you already, so I'm sorry.
It's all right.
But I will say he was talking to Butcher and Blade as Big Money Matt, and he wasn't getting through to them. So he said, hold on, I'll be back. And he came back as Broken Matt, and he got through to them. So I think now it makes sense. That's why Butcher and Blade are there. Not for Big Money Matt, but for the Broken Matt.
If that's where they're going with this, I will be more than happy to see this Big Money Matt kind of gimmick come to an end. I miss Broken Matt Hardy. That's the Matt Hardy I fell in love with and various incarnations of.
Yep. And that's the Matt Hardy we thought we were going to get when he showed up on the same night that Brody Lee did.
Yeah, and it's the Matt Hardy we did get for a little while, but he said in interviews it just doesn't work when you've not got a crowd in front of you. So he's going to do something different for a while, and might revisit it when crowds are back, when he's got that audience there to work off. So hopefully. Yeah.
And crowds are just slowly getting back. I wonder when Dynamite's going to start traveling again. As you know, last year they were working their way from the east side of the United States to the west side last year. And they were right about to me when the coronavirus hit us all.
Yeah. So they've started kind of rescheduling their shows, the ones that have been postponed. And it looks like they're aiming to be touring again by September. Whether that goes ahead as planned, I don't know, but that's when the dates are starting to pop up now. Like they've scheduled Rochester and a couple of others for like middle to end of September. So
yeah, and not to get anybody's hopes up, but like I say, looking at the numbers, I'm a numbers guy. Looking at the numbers of this virus and the vaccine rollout here in the United States, it does look like a very strong possibility that they could be touring in September, just based on how quickly we're rolling it out. At this rate, we will have our country 50% vaccinated by mid-May, 50% by May. So September, very attainable goal, as long as nothing gets out of control and nothing new happens with this virus. So
as long as people keep being sensible and
correct
doing their bit, then in theory, by the end of the summer, we should be seeing live shows again.
Right. So I know we're all excited for that. Can't wait to see where that goes. I also can't wait to see where Jade Cargill goes from here, because I think she needs to come off Red Velvet. I know they both kind of talked to each other in this show, but I think she needs to get away from Red Velvet. Do you think this is leading up to a third? Well, is it really a third match or a second match? Second match with Red Velvet.
I mean, I don't care. As harsh as it sounds, I would honestly, I went and made a cup of tea, because I really don't care about this at all. Jade is good. I'm not going to deny that, but I have literally no interest in this feud between her and Red Velvet at all. And I've got just as little interest in Red Velvet's bite back that we got later in the show.
Correct. That's why we're talking about it now. We're not even going to get to that later. We'll just talk about it now. Well, at least you've been consistent, Beth. You have not liked her. You have not really cared since the beginning with Jade, and it's not because you don't like her. It's just you just don't care. I get it.
I just don't care. She's good. I just don't care.
Yeah, I will say I don't know what it is about her. I really don't. I could not tell you. I cannot pinpoint it, but I do really like her. I don't know what it is. I don't know. So, and we've only seen her in 1-2 matches now. In the same though with you, I do not care that she would be with Red Velvet. Yeah. I don't care about that. We've already seen that. Give Jade bigger competition. Give her Britt. I want to see her against the big names. Give her another name. Yeah, Ty. Give her those names. I don't want to see her against Red Velvet. Nothing against Red Velvet. We just already
Anna Jay when Anna Jay's back. There are other names as well that I won't mention because we haven't got there yet. But there are many other people that she could have a really good and actually interesting feud with.
Mm-hmm.
Red Velvet isn't it? And the best Red Velvet has looked has been in the tag matches she's been having on Dark with Swole and that lot and Kyle and King. And that's because the other people make her interesting.
All right, so we'll move away from Jade for a second there, and we'll talk about just all the names that Beth listed, all the names that you could list. This women's division, it's stacked.
Yeah,
come on,
it
guys.
Really is. People need to give AEW a break. Their women's division is really, really bloody good.
It is, and so I'm telling you, it's just going to keep getting better, and it has. So all these names, all these possibilities. I do believe, we both believe that Thunder Rosa will also be part of the roster someday officially. This year, hopefully.
The end of this year, I think her contract's up. So
definitely. So, and she just took an L on NWA. So it's coming. It's coming. Yeah, she took an L in that pay-per-view, I believe. To what's her face? Man, I know her. I believe she lost to Camille. But anyway, so things are on the ups, and they've been on the ups with the women's division for a while. After that, we had Cody versus QT Marshall with the special referee Arn Anderson, and this was an exhibition. QT was a little angry, right? He wanted to show himself.
A little angry, just a little bit.
Well, Beth, did he do his job? Did he show what he can do?
He did, and it ended up being not quite so much of an exhibition match. QT looked phenomenal throughout the whole thing.
Right.
Cody was clearly going to win the match. He hooked in the figure 4 and then let it go because he said he wasn't going to hurt QT. He hooked in the crossroads and then let him go because he said he wasn't going to. And this happened 3 or 4 times. And then QT decked on and all hell broke loose and it was glorious. I loved every second of it. Nick Comoroto ran out. Aaron Solo ran out. Freaking Anthony Ogogo ran out and sided with QT. And it's gonna be amazing.
Anthony Ogogo, as someone Beth has been tweeting about for a while. So seriously.
He's so good.
I don't know about you. There's some things that I see on the show that I know that you're freaking out about while I'm watching it. That was one. So there might be some things where you're watching, you're like, oh, Reyno's probably freaking out about that. That was one I was like, Beth is probably freaking out about this right now.
So
screaming.
Anthony, for those that don't know, Anthony Ogogo is a British Olympic boxer who has been training with QT since, I think it was either the week before or the week after Dynamite first started. He was signed. He was their first developmental contract. He's been training with QT for the last year and a half. Has been tearing it up on commentary on Dark with Taz and Excalibur for the last 6 months or so, and has been healing it up on Twitter which is always fun to see. But he's absolutely lovely. He's a brilliant boxer. I think he got bronze in the Olympics for Britain in the boxing. And yeah, he's just great, and he's extremely charismatic and comes from about 30 miles up the road from where I do. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him.
And correct me if I'm wrong, we have not seen him on Dynamite before.
No, we haven't. We've seen him like after Callis and Kenny took the championship. You saw him in the run through backstage. He was there. He's popped up on a couple of backstage segments, just kind of being in the background because he's there to film Dark. No, he hasn't actually made an actual appearance on Dynamite until today or Wednesday. But he's been on Dark pretty much weekly for the last 6 months or so.
Mm-hmm. So it appears there is another faction in AEW. Surprise,
another
surprise.
Heel faction. So many heel factions.
So many heel factions, which, hey guys, these people are in something. They're a part of something. They're on TV because of these factions. I know it's a hot topic this week in the IWC.
There's been a couple.
Yeah. Having a few friends is, I guess, a bad thing. But I guess, like I was telling Beth, I was like, including me. Most of us wrestling fans are antisocial, social anxiety. We get all that. We don't have friends. So is this just a case of people just being angry that we don't have friends? And so they have friends, and so we despise them?
I don't know what it is. I really don't, because as you said, it gives them screen time. It gives them stories. And because all the factions are doing something at the moment.
Yeah. And again, I hate to talk about other companies, but for example, the Hurt Business got split up this week. One of the hottest things WWE had going on. And that was good, though, because it gave those 4 guys something to do. Now we're very easily going to see 2 of those guys. Now that they're broke up, we're going to see 2 of those guys, Shelton Benjamin and probably Alexander. We're not going to see them at all now. They're going to have nothing to do. So again, being in a faction is good. It puts you on TV. And when you break them up,
even if you're not the one getting matches, just think Dark Order come out with Dark Order every match. They're still getting screen time, even if they're not the ones in the matches.
Yep. So I will never complain about seeing my favorites a part of a group like Starks. I love Starks. He's on every week. He may not get a match every week, but he's like my favorite Team Taz member. We see him every week. So Beth, you didn't talk about the whole Caesar thing.
So it's been about a year since Jake the Snake came out and called Cody Caesar. Cody then came out in the purple, which Roman colors of royalty and just general posh people all over the world. And it was really great. And then a year later, QT does the whole stab Cody in the back and betray him, just like Brutus does to Caesar. So it is a really nice kind of round finish to how this storyline's gone. It's great to see long-term storytelling. Cody, from the moment Jake the Snake said Caesar, you knew Cody's downfall was coming, and it's just been sin.
And it's just another little Easter egg that a year ago we would not have foretold what could have happened in a year, but we may not have thought anything of that comment. Or you're Caesar, you think you're the best. But yeah, this another long-term storytelling that they've done really well, which they have always been spot on when it comes to that stuff. So there's stuff, just think about it. There's stuff that probably happened this week or this month that is going to be coming back to us in about a year.
Yeah,
they're always
link
throwing
back to their own program all the time. There's those little flashbacks and kind of moments of, so that makes sense now, throughout all of it. And we are only going to continue to see that, and it's awesome. Yeah.
So, and speaking of awesome, one of the most awesome wrestlers in the world, doesn't matter which company you like, one of the best wrestlers in the world, John Moxley, had a promo right before his big match. What did he say in his promo?
That he's pissed off, and then continued, they're very pissed off, and then proceeded to list off all the reasons why he's pissed off right now. You don't want to be heading into a match with a very pissed off Mox.
No, you don't. He just has an energy, man, that I love. just has an energy. Like I said, that's one of his best attributes is he feeds off of the crowd. Can't wait to see him in front of a bigger crowd again. But he just has that energy that I like. And I think that most wrestling fans would like. Not all of us, because apparently there are people that don't like Jon Moxley in this world, apparently, because I tweeted about it.
That's something that I struggle to understand. There is nothing not to like about him.
Right. But it just goes to show you that, man, that's how different wrestling fans' opinions are, is that there's people that don't like him.
What shocks me is there are people that like Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, or the Baron Corbin. There's people that love King Corbin. And to me, I know there's 90% of the audience loves MJF. To me, I can't believe how. But it's just, we're all different. So, I mean, it is what it is. But most people love Moxley, his energy, and he came out kicking a trash can. I love that. That was very Moxley of him. And then just stare down Cesar Bononi's chest there for a second right before he beats his butt.
It's odd seeing Mox, the smaller one, in a match.
Yeah. That guy's huge. I'll just say he's huge. 6'5", I think.
Yeah, he's 6'5", 6'6", something like that. But yeah, this was... I was expecting a squash match. It was about as close to as AEW get with squash matches. But because it was an exhibition of Mox kicking butt. But Cesar Bononi actually got some really good offense, and he had Mox staggered for a while. In the end, of course, Mox won. But it was a really impressive win for Mox, despite the fact Cesar Bononi has only really been on our screens for the last, 2 months? Outside of what we've seen on Dark. So it put Bononi over big time. We're seeing him a lot more on Dynamite at the moment. He's been on Elevation. He's on Dark all the time. It's going to be interesting to see, because it looks like they're getting a bit of a push with Pretty Peter and Ryan Nemeth and JD Drake, who all seem to have formed another mini faction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an interesting one. 3 different characters right there.
Anyway. I think heels getting along with other heels is, to be fair, it's a pretty good excuse for a heel faction. It's like, right. I don't particularly like you, but we all kind of want to kick butt, so let's deal with it. It's basically how Team Taz are functioning at the moment.
So speaking of that, what you just said, we're going to segue into this because I realized that it's not on my notes. It's not on my show notes, but it happened during the show. It was a backstage segment with, it was a vignette. Sorry, it was a promo with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page.
Oh my God, this was really, really unexpected. But really well done. And I am very much looking forward to seeing where this goes.
Yeah, I mean, me as a huge Scorpio fan, I was a fan of Ethan Page, not huge fan, but putting him with Scorpio, this is what's going to get me to love Ethan Page in AEW, is those two together.
I think that's exactly why AEW are doing it. There's no real need for it. It's heels being heels and both aiming for the top, so they'll help each other get there for now until they inevitably have a fight with each other. But it's a really good way to get both the Ethan and Sky over, and it's going to be really good. They looked really good in the ring for the Face the Revolution ladder match. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting seeing these two in tag team.
Right. And not to downgrade Dark at all, but it seems like you see a lot more of tie-ins with Elevation and Dynamite than you see with Dark and Dynamite. So guys, if you're not watching Elevation, if you're a Dark watcher, but you don't watch Elevation, watch Elevation. There's a lot of show tie-ins now with that stuff. You don't want to be caught off guard when something happens on screen. You're like, how'd that happen? You know?
It was one thing AEW have been quite good, especially recently, is if something relevant does happen on Dark, they will actually mention it these days. Whereas when Dark first started, it was like a completely separate product. You also, at the bottom of the screen, they run through the matches and wins that have happened on Dark and Elevation at the bottom of the screen of like the first 20 minutes of Dynamite.
I like that.
So you have that catch up there, and it is something they're getting better at. So hopefully we'll see some proper storyline crossover.
Yeah, and I like that little ticker they have, because I'm usually watching Impact on Tuesdays, so I like having that little rundown of what happened. So another tie-in that they've done on Elevation, which was right after the Mox match, they had a Team Taz promo. There's been some of that going on in Elevation as well. So what happened on the promo this week on Dynamite?
So this has been Elevation and Dark. Team Taz have been having issues so far, and we've seen a little bit of it spill over on Dynamite the last few weeks. But yeah, they're just not happy with each other. They're all pissed off that Cage was nice to Sting, and then Cage tagged himself in a tag match because Starks didn't tag him in throughout the whole tag match. So Cage tagged himself in for the win. They were arguing about that. But it's the whole, we are fine, everything's fine, we're not trying to kill each other or anything, with the big fake smiles and the tension you could cut with a freaking spoon.
Well, the one guy that's not giving fake smiles is Ricky Starks. His face is telling the whole story.
Yeah, it's the switch between Cage, I'm going to kill you, and then Taz looks at him and it's this huge smile, like fake smile on his face, going, no, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine. Cage, I'm going to kill you. So this eventual blow up is going to be really good. I'm looking forward to seeing Hook show up a bit more as well, rather than just outside shenanigans. Could be
Hook
quite interesting.
Now Hook can go back to Fantasyland with Peter Pan. That's where he can go. And then we can switch him out with Layla Hirsch. I think it would be a mistake. I don't want to drag this segment on too long, but I think it would be a mistake to have Brian Cage leave Team Taz. I think
I really don't know.
He's their big name star power. And I love Hobbs. He's a big guy. But Brian Cage is their big top guy in that faction, the top guy.
Yeah, but they've also built Starks up to take that place and to be the big name. And he's got the charisma, he's got the mic skills. Cage is very much just kind of the big guy there now, and Hobbs already fills that space. So I think Cage taking that step back and him getting a nice run as a singles, like outside of a faction, could be really interesting.
Yeah, especially with all the heels running around. I guess that does make sense. They do need some more star power on the face side of it. But yeah, we'll see where that goes. Starks is my favorite Team Taz member, so if he takes the lead, hey, I'm fine with that. I should have wore his shirt today, but I'm wearing the black. But after that, my favorite segment of the night. Should I go first or should you?
Do you know what? I will agree this is one of the best segments of the night. But I will let you go for it. So
yes,
go ahead.
So as you guys all know, I have just been sitting here twiddling my thumbs and rolling my eyes talking about the Pinnacle when we've been talking about the Pinnacle on this show the past couple weeks, because like Beth feels about Jade Cargill and Red Velvet, I feel about Pinnacle. I just don't care. And I know I'm like the 1 in 100 people that are not hyped on Pinnacle. So that being said, this segment was amazing to me. You got MJF talking in the background of their dressing room. For some reason, he talks about getting rid of a stench in the bathroom. And for some reason, he goes to open the door to smell that stench. And he did not find that stench. He found the inner circle inside the bathrooms. Great moment. I popped. I got goosebumps seeing Jericho in the lead. But those four were in the bathroom. I didn't realize that till the second time I watched it back. They were in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Only Jake Hager was not in the bathroom. So they tried to leave. He says, "We gotta go," and they try to leave, and they all got their butts kicked.
Because Jake was the other side of the door.
Yeah, Jake was on the other side of the door, so they had nowhere to go. They had to fight. The Pinnacle had to fight Inner Circle 1-on-1.
And I very much enjoyed this segment. I mean, it's the first time Inner Circle have looked like a dominant heel faction since Stadium Stampede. And they have very much been more of that comedy heel act recently, which is fine. But I'm glad they've got their main streak back. And this whole brawl was just brilliant. I could have watched it for half an hour. It
was good stuff. So if people aren't going to watch matches back, go back and watch that, please. I mean, I don't even think it was that long. It's short. It won't take you long, but it is enjoyable. Everyone, all people of the Pinnacle got their butts whipped in that match. You had the person I do not name named SS.
Sean Spears.
Yeah, that guy. He got dominated by Sammy. He got thrown into a door. Was that it looked like a go to sleep that he hit him with.
I wasn't sure because the camera work was a bit all over the place, which was kind of the point they were putting over on commentary, how the camera team were really struggling to keep up with it because they all split up and went the separate directions to kick the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
So a lot of the action wasn't caught. So I didn't quite catch the Sammy and Sean Spears stuff.
Okay, but
it was great. It didn't matter if you didn't catch it all because you saw bits of it, and that's all that really. It was great. I don't know how else to say it. The whole show. Yeah.
Like I said, I enjoyed that every single member of Pinnacle got their butts whooped, and we got to see every single member. Cash got thrown into a ice bath. Dax got his head bashed in for real. That was real blood on Santana. Yeah. And then you had MJF, of course. He went through the plexiglass, which that is sharp. That could be very dangerous. So he went through the plexiglass, and what else?
He got a freaking swirly. Jericho gave King MJF a swirly. I was quite disappointed he didn't pull the flush too, but I guess you can't actually drown someone on live TV. So,
but I mean, if you're going to drown somebody, at least make it MJF. So,
but this whole brawl was just bloody brilliant, and it made me laugh. It highlighted just how dominant Inner Circle were and why they hit the top so quickly, because it just showcased how bloody brilliant they were. Yeah,
they're amazing. Great segment. Probably my favorite, most enjoyable segment of the night. All I can say. Way better than the next segment. You had Young Bucks talking to Alex Marvez.
So they're doing their interview thing backstage, and then Callis comes on, as he does, tells Marvez to disappear, then tells Nick to disappear and let him and Matt, the grown-ups, talk. And he basically rips the crap out of Matt, saying that he's cold-hearted, that he doesn't care. He's just stood by as he's hurt, as his friends and family have been hurt and not done anything about it. This kept going on and on and on, and Matt just kept standing there, looking at the ground, refusing to make eye contact. Callis slapped him and then was like, oh, did I really just do that? Oops, my bad. And then walked off. And it's just Matt stood there looking really angry.
Yeah. And he took a good slap too. I watched that slap back. He took a good hit. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens there.
I wasn't quite sure how I felt about this at the time, but give it about 10 minutes and you see the follow-up to this. It all just kind of clicked in my mind, and I was like, okay, yes, this works and this is fantastic. Give me all of it, please.
I will say I think this might lead to, well, it's probably not even that deep. It's just me as a wrestling fan digging too far into it, but maybe a different style for Matt, because I like how it let the grown-ups talk. He's like literally 2 years older than Nick. So like there's not much difference there. But however, in-ring product, they're both still amazing, but I've noticed over the years Matt has lost a lot of athletic ability. Well, not a lot, just a little bit. He's not as athletic as he used to be, and that might be because he's a little 2 years older. So maybe this leads to a different style, a more tougher, brutal, power style.
Seeing that more aggressive side of the Bucks. We've been able to see it a couple of times so far throughout with AEW, but getting that more aggressive style from Matt while keeping the kind of high-flying side of things with Nick could kind of push Young Bucks up to kind of the next level. It could be extremely interesting to see.
Yep. Extremely interesting. Like anytime Kenny Omega's in the ring, he was with the Goon Brothers, though, which I'm really getting. I get it; they're popular, but I'm really getting tired of seeing those guys. It was Kenny and the Goon Brothers versus three very good luchas.
The Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid. I'm hoping we actually get Laredo Kid signed, because I forgot how bloody good he was, especially with Lucha Bros. They work great as a trios team. Not that Lucha Bros need a trios partner, because they've got Pac.
Yeah.
But hey,
I've seen Laredo Kid. The only time I've seen him in a match before that was versus Kenny in the AAA title for a couple months ago. I thought it was good, very good.
also at the first All In, I think.
Oh,
All
wow.
In. It was either All In or the first All Out.
The first All In, as in before they were AEW.
Yeah, it was either All In or the first AEW pay-per-view.
I think it was
one. He was in one of them, and that was kind of what Kenny came out and said last week. This is where it all started. It was him and the Lucha Bros. It was us in the ring, and look at where we are now. So that kind of kicked off Kenny's segment last week. Was Laredo Kid had been there and was kind of there when this all started, and now look at where they are with the Bucks and stuff. Yeah. But this was a really impressive match.
Everybody showcased what they can do too. Everyone fed to their strengths on that match. The big LG, it sounds like a phone to me. It sounds like a cell phone. The big LG, is his slower style, just more dominant, brutal, bashing style. And then, Kenny does his thing. Every single lucha has their own style. Penta's not as high flying anymore as he used to be, but Phoenix still is. Every time you're watching a match, you never know if you don't see Phoenix on the screen, he might just pop up and fly across the screen like he did over the top rope. Yeah. So, but the match had to end sometime. Who got the win?
Kenny got the pin on Laredo Kid, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, yeah. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
But
everything that happened afterwards. So they had the beat down, and then Mox swaggers out, and he stares down from the ramp. And then he takes a few steps down and kind of leaning on the ropes. And commentary putting over how he's outnumbered, but that's never stopped him before and all that. And then the Young Bucks come out. And you're not quite sure whether they're there to kick the shit out of Mox or side with Mox. But then Mox stands up and takes a step back, and the Young Bucks are stood on the steps beside him, either side of him. And then they race into the ring, and the Good Brothers, Kenny and Callis, all scarper.
Yeah.
I never thought I would. It's not a combination that I thought I'd want to see. But yeah, Mox flanked by the Young Bucks. It was just an awesome visual.
They do that a lot. They do that with people you wouldn't think of putting together. There's so many likable people on AEW, and then they'll put them. You'll never think that you need it or will want it until you see them together, and you're like, "Oh yeah, oh my god, that's great." So,
but they keep doing this, and I don't know who's going to take the title off Kenny anymore. And it's because it was Hangman was going to take the title off Kenny. But now we've got Christian who is pushing for the title. You've got Hangman who is like number 2 contender for the title at the moment, and Pac's number 1, or the other way around. So we've got that. And then you've got this with the inevitable another rematch between John and Kenny, with the Good Brothers and the Young Bucks. And I'm like, are we going to get John taking the title back off Kenny and winning the title back? And I don't know how to fantasy book this at the moment, and it confuses me. Yeah,
well, you have always since the beginning, like you said, said Hangman Page.
Yeah,
I
don't know anymore.
I've never been sold on him yet. I'm still not there yet with him as the world champion.
I want Hangman to be the one that kicks out of the One-Winged Angel. And the only way that's going to happen is in a championship match where he then gets the win. But I would also really want Mox to get the title back, because Mox is still my champ.
Yeah, I would want Mox, or of course my number 1, Christian, to get it. Nothing against Hangman.
I would be happy with Christian taking it off him as well. I just don't know which direction they're going to take it at the moment, and I think that's kind of the point.
And we don't have to. Right now. That's the good part. It's not even close to happening. He's not losing that title for a while. We can just enjoy
the run, and when it comes time, they can just pick a storyline to pull the trigger with. Yeah.
And I love Impact, and I watch Impact every single week. But Impact only fans will tell you that he's whooping Omega. He's whooping him. He's taking the AEW belt. That's all I've been seeing from Impact only fans. I'm like, I would bet.
I can see it happening, but mainly to put Impact over.
Right. I just
Kenny
can't.
doesn't need the prestige. Impact kind of do. So
Well,
I can see it happening, and I would understand their reasoning if it were to happen. I don't think it will, but I can see their reasoning behind doing it if it were to happen.
I would, if it wasn't Rich Swann, I would agree with you. I just, no. Rich Swann should not be the guy setting the wrestling world on fire. This is just my opinion. She should not be the one beating Kenny Omega in a big time match. This is Rich Swann.
Moose shouldn't be beating Kenny either, to be fair.
Who should be beating Rich Swann?
He should be beating Rich Swann, but Moose shouldn't be beating Kenny.
Swann. I totally agree.
So
I don't see. You can agree though that the guy who wins, the guy who has all the belts, whether it's Rich Swann or Kenny Omega, that person will literally be on top of the world. They're going to be world champion for different promotions at the same time. I just cannot see it being Rich Swann. That's all. It can't. No.
I don't see it happening, but I can understand why they would do it.
I would quit watching.
It would put Impact over big time, and that's kind of what this whole partnership is intending to do.
I think this is all, like I said, we're getting deep, but I like this stuff. I see him losing it, but I believe to put Impact over, which is, like you said, what they need. They do need that in this crossover, because it seems like it's been one-sided. I think this is a bigger story for someone's going to have to get it back from Impact, and it's not going to be Rich Swann. I think this is for Moose. I do. I honestly believe that. I think Swann's losing the belt.
We will see how it plays out.
Yeah, Moose is going to be the one to get it back anyway, because we can also agree that whoever does win it, whether Rich Swann wins both or Kenny Omega wins both, the other company's going to have to get it back. So, okay, last thing, because I'm telling you, I love this stuff. So Rich Swann wins, right? You're saying you can see it happening. Okay, fine.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically, I'll entertain that. So who would be the person to get it back for AEW? If we lost the championship to Impact, who would be the one to get it back? It wouldn't be Omega.
It wouldn't have to be Omega at that point. You can have a younger champ at that point. Have someone like Sammy take it off him, or a Hangman would be another one that worked, because Hangman kind of easily balances between the mid card and main event. With his skills, and so you could any of the younger male roster would be able to take it back off him. Have Orange Cassidy with a title run for 6 weeks or between pay-per-views, and then have him lose it to a proper champ at a pay-per-view. At that point you can have Hangman take it off Orange Cassidy or something like that. So there are people on the AEW roster that they could make it work with without having Rich Swann have to beat Kenny. Or beat another Kenny level wrestler.
Yeah, 2 different levels there. Okay, moving on. Then right after the Moxley and Bucks segment, there was a small little segment of Britt Baker saying that the best match of her life was actually a match that she lost, the biggest match of her career. And then she was just doing Britt Baker things. So not much to say about that one, really. It's just a small little segment.
Yeah, it's Britt Baker being Britt Baker.
Which moved right into the women's match, 2-on-2.
Do you know what? Tay and Shida look so freaking cool coming out in their gi jackets together.
Yes, they did.
It's just, they did it on, was it Elevation or Dark? I can't remember which one it was. They've both kind of blurred into one this week. It's been so busy. But they had a match on one of the Dark shows, and they came out with the gis on there as well. And they do just look really freaking cool together. And their styles work so well together. Really great chemistry between them as a tag team anyway.
Yeah, and they're both really good, and they're both really gorgeous. Yeah. So, I mean, put them on TV every week. I'll be fine. Are you wearing a Shida shirt?
I am. I'm wearing my Shida shirt today.
She's wearing a Shida shirt. There you go. So I would love seeing them on every week, especially I'm a huge fan of Conti, and she's been killing it on the other shows. She's been winning.
Yeah, she's been absolutely fantastic. She's building a right little streak up behind her, was.
And I hope someone else that does get more victories is the one who did get the victory in this match, Bunny. I do hope that we get more Bunny.
Yeah, I'm kind of gutted that Bunny and Nyla won, but Bunny looked really bloody good. This match was all about Tay and Bunny. With Sin Nyla versus Shida, I think they were just placeholders at that point.
Yeah.
But it was Tay Conti versus Bunny with Nyla and Shida, and it was brilliant. Bunny looked absolutely great, and it's the first time we've got to see her wrestle as Bunny.
Yeah, which was nice.
So yeah, and it was just great. It had Dark Order on the outside. We had the rest of Big Money Matt's like entourage and the Vicious Vixens with Vicky Guerrero. So there were a heck of a lot of people, and it's a really good match until like the last few minutes when it all broke out into madness on the outside. And then Bunny got the pin on Conti.
Yep. So unfortunately, I missed it. I had unbeknownst to me, a visitor show up for about 10 minutes, so I missed the match. But I'll go back and watch that.
It was really good. It was really good, and it's great to see the women's division get screen time, and decent screen time as well, with decent storylines. Yeah,
telling you, it's happening. It's gelling. It's coming together.
And it's great, and people need to let AEW just do their thing rather than just complaining about it all the time.
Because more often than not, you're right. Because more often than not, they're going to give us what we want.
You've got to remember, this company's 2 years old. They've had a live TV show a year and a half. They're still working through things. They're still improving. They're still finding their stride. They can't work on everything at once. You've got to give them time to build up their product.
And this is not WCW who immediately signed, their whole roster came from WWE when WCW started. So you knew that was eventually going to fizzle out. Yeah. They eventually had to build their own stuff, and WCW didn't have the people to do it. This is not WCW. AEW has everybody they need to go forth into the future for a long time. And mark my words, people are saying that they may not be around in 10 years. Come on. Mark my words. We will. This is not WCW. We will see -1 as an 18 or 19-year-old kid in a match in AEW. They will be around. So looking forward to that. Just like I was looking forward to this main event big time, because I love the arcade. I love arcade games. And we had an arcade anarchy match.
This match was pure genius. And like the way it's been put over, I mean, best friends doing advertising on Twitter is always funny as it is. But like there was a little promo beforehand about them having to remember the rules to the match they organized. And like it was just bloody brilliant. And so many surprises. Yes.
We'll get to the surprises in a second. We'll talk about the match itself first. I loved all the little games they had. I loved the whack-a-mole with Kip Sabian.
Yeah.
That was probably it. I would go to Dave & Buster's right now if they had a whack-a Kip Sabian. I would play that game every single night just so I could smack that guy on the head. But yeah, Miro looked like a beast. Like I said, a lot of people are not happy with what Miro's doing. I think I am happy because he has always looked strong. He's never looked weak in anything they've done with him. So he looks like a monster. I noticed how cut he was. He's in better shape than he's ever been. He looks great. Penelope Ford, a little nuisance, was out there during that match too, but eventually, she had to go away.
She did.
How did she go away?
Chris Statlander's back. So AEW fans, for those of us that didn't see this coming, we really should have done, because they put Chris Statlander's alien in the Best Friends Tron for their entrance.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And none of us realized what that meant. But yeah, so Chris Statlander turned up. She was in the grabby machine and popped up out of all the teddy bears, broke through, and then kicked the shit out of Penelope Ford, and it was glorious.
She knocked the shit out of, pardon my language, she knocked the shit out of that plexiglass into Penelope Ford's face.
It was so freaking cool. And afterwards, the Best Friends have put on Twitter that Statlander is now one of their best friends. So I don't know if Statlander has officially joined the Best Friends or whether this is just a nice little partnership they've got going at the moment because of everything that's been going on BTE. But either way, I'm more than happy. My alien's back.
Yeah, and she was, and I've always put her in my top 3 for the women they have in AEW. I've always put her in the top 3, even when she was injured. So boom, one of my top 3 is back. I am very happy. Yes. But yeah, like Beth said, it was one of those things where I saw it. I saw it on the intro, and it was just like,
why?
Not even a second. Probably didn't even go through my mind for a second. I just kind of squinted, like, all right, and then like it just went away. So I think that's really good that the AEW can do that. They can literally tell you what's about to happen, and we still don't know what's going to happen.
We still pop because none of us saw it coming.
Yeah, but I noticed it on the intro, like,
yeah,
and it went through my head for maybe a second. I was like, okay.
But Statlander wasn't the only return we got of the night. Nope. So
we got Sue.
Yeah, Sue. I think more importantly than Sue, but Sue dropped Chuck off. Trent, not Chuck.
Trent.
So Trent's back. Trent went absolutely mental, kind of kicked the crap out of everyone. And then Miro was like, nah, this ain't on. I'm going to go see Sue. And was kind of climbing up Sue's bonnet, trying to rip her windscreen wipers off. And then Trent was like, bitch, stay away from my mum. And yeah, it was really cool. And it was such a heartfelt and heartwarming way to end the episode. I had such a huge smile on my face for the rest of the day because I didn't watch it until Thursday morning. The whole of Thursday, I was just grinning because it was a really feel-good end to the show.
We get a lot of good moments like that on weekly television with this company. A lot of some other companies out there, they do some of that too, but like they leave the big stuff, like returns and stuff for the pay-per-views. We get a lot of that on the weekly shows in Dynamite. Yeah. So you see Statlander come back, and then she puts her through a table after knocking her out with the plexiglass, puts her through a table, very good table spot. And then you're like, this is just amazing. This is amazing. And then Sue comes down with Trent. You're like, oh my God, it just got even better. So
yeah, it was like the Sting episode, Winter is Coming, where we get the big Sting reveal. So no one expects anything else to happen for the rest of the show. And then Kenny wins the title. And we get the Impact crossover being revealed. And it's the double pops is the double swerves. We never expect the second one to come. And I certainly didn't expect Trent back for another few weeks at least.
Yeah. Double or nothing, maybe.
Yeah.
You know?
So, yeah, I was just, it was just great. And I know I've said that so much today, but the whole show really was just fantastic.
So speaking of Chris Statlander being, and the song is great too. So it was a feel-good moment with the feel-good song at the end when Orange Cassidy's new music is playing. Seriously, go back and watch the last couple minutes of the show if you have it on DVR, because just the song and the moment matched the moment, and it was perfect.
Yeah, and then Statlander coming up, they do the got to give the people what they want with Excalibur, and they're all hugging in the ring, and then Statlander comes out, and they all just kind of hold their hands up to Statlander as she runs up, and they have another big hug, and while the Pixies are playing in the background. And yeah, it was just a really feel-good moment and a feel-good way to end the show, and I really wish I had been there.
Yeah, it would have been nice.
There aren't many shows that I've got to the end of and gone, do you know what? I really wish I'd been there. Winter is Coming was one of them. But other than pay-per-views and stuff, I'm generally all right watching the weekly TV. But it got to the end of it, and I was just like, yeah, I really wanted to have been there. Because the atmosphere in that place must have been absolutely amazing.
Speaking of Winter is Coming, I just wanted to go show people this real quick. I did actually buy, you can't even see it, all the white. I did actually buy
the graphic.
The signed one, yeah. Signed by both of them.
I am so jealous.
For
those who don't know, I am a major Game of Thrones nerd. So the whole Game of Thrones AEW crossover was like one of the best moments of my life.
Yeah. It's crazy
I'm slightly jealous.
It's crazy because me and you have never talked Game of Thrones, but that was literally my favorite show for years.
Oh, the show has its issues. I'm talking the books here, but like it was. AEW are just really bloody good, and I don't care what the haters have to say because haters gonna hate. And it doesn't matter what AEW do, there are always going to be people complaining. But you know what? I don't bloody care. This was fantastic.
I don't even have to add to that. You said it perfectly. People will find something to complain. Hey, if I don't like a person, I'm not going to watch their movie. You know, if I don't like that actor or actress, I'm not going to watch that movie. But I'll complain about it. That's just what people do.
Yeah.
So we actually decided, me and Beth, like, what's the point of even doing show grades anymore? Why are we even doing show grades? Every single show is great.
If it's a particularly terrible show, comparatively, it might be worth mentioning. But yeah, I mean, for the vast majority of the last, like, we've missed 2 weeks, so the last 12 weeks, every episode has been like 10 out of 10. So there's just no point doing it.
So we're just going to do away with those. We're not even going to. We pretty much told you how great the show is. So why even put a number on it?
Exactly.
Don't need to do that. But one thing we will stay with is Wrestler of the Week, and I went last week, I believe. So Beth, I'll let you go first.
I am wearing a Sheeda top, but I'm only wearing a Sheeda top because I don't own a Ty Conti top. So my Wrestler of the Week this week is Ty because. Nice. Yeah, she was absolutely fantastic.
And if you combine what she did on both of the other shows too, very good week for her. She is my current number one in AEW for the women, so I'm not going to argue with that one bit. Like I said, I just missed the match, so I wish I would have saw her in the match, but I didn't.
Well worth going back and watching.
We'll do that. Mine, as you always know, I leave hints. And sometimes my hints don't make sense, and sometimes you don't even get them. And this is going to be another one.
I'm really struggling. I can't figure it out.
And that's the point. You're not going to. But so I'll say this: I saw AEW's Did you see AEW's Wrestler of the Week? I did. Did you?
I think so, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
So it actually put perspective on my Wrestler of the Week picks every week because I looked at it, and I'm serious. I looked at it. I remember looking. I didn't like the pick. And so I was like, I don't want people to do that to me when they hear Rest of the Week. I want it to be a no-brainer. Yeah. So because of that, there's this Trent. I'm like, yeah, great return, great moment, but Wrestler of the Week? So exactly, that's how I felt. So I didn't want, but my Wrestler of the Week was going to be Chris Statlander. So I was like, well, then I'm basically doing the same thing. If I'm looking at it and I'm like,
she wasn't actually in the match either, Reno.
Right. So because of that, I did pick someone who was in a match. It's not the Young Bucks. Just like you don't get my video references before, you're not going to get this one. In the back of me is an episode of Dirty Jobs or Tough Jobs. Dirty Jobs playing. What are these people with Dirty Jobs doing? They're outworking everybody, just like Christian Cage did.
I'll give you that one. I will give you that one.
Just like Christian Cage did, I wanted mine to be a no-brainer, but, and someone who did great in a match. It can still be someone who loses. I think it makes perfect sense. Me and Beth have both picked people who lost matches before. So, but I want my Rest of the Week to be someone who is you can't argue with it. Christian Cage, great job. First match in 7 years. He did look like he had some rust, and it could be age too. I don't think it was much rust. I think it was more age. The fall over the side, you remember that? He got knocked over the side of the ring. That looked a little rough. It looked like it might have hurt. But anyway, that's my Rest of the Week. I'm not going to talk all day about it.
Yeah,
Christian,
can't argue with that at all.
Yeah. So that's it. Guys, next week it's going to be a special edition of Only Beth, if she does it, Dynamite review.
As far as I plan on doing it, things might get a little bit hectic for me next week. So it might be a shorter one. And with it being just me as well. But I will figure that out, and I'll let you know on Twitter what's going on.
Yeah, so speaking of hectic, I mean, Beth has a lot of things going on, and I'll address, I haven't addressed that we didn't do last week's episode of this Dynamite review. So Beth has a ton of crap going on. She does this and that everywhere. She has a lot of different likes outside of wrestling. It's not just her, it's all of us. All of us wrestling fans have life, and we have stuff that goes on outside of it. I work full time. I watch all these other companies. It was just a very much needed break for both of us. Self-care week. And it's been the best week of my life, honestly. Well, for a while, because I've gotten to, we watch so much wrestling. We always forget about those other things we like. Because like, seriously, I'm watching your timeline sometimes, and it's stuff I don't know about, but it's stuff that you're passionate about. And
For me, it's tabletop role-playing games such as Dungeons and Dragons, classical and ancient history, and wrestling.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to do, hi, Jericho. I don't want to do so much wrestling podcasting that we forget those other things we like and enjoy. So I'm glad
sometimes you just need to take that break.
Yeah. And I did. And I refound, I reinvigorated my love for other things that Reyno enjoys. So it's been great. So next week it's going to be hopefully just Beth. I don't care how small it is. If you got time to do it, hey, like I said, it's all about self-care. So if you got time to do a 10-minute episode of Dynamite Review, she'll do it. But Reyno will be at the grandest stage of them all. He will be at WrestleMania. So I'm sorry, I'll do a video next week from WrestleMania at some point.
I probably won't be watching Mania this year.
That's fine.
But I will be enjoying Bloodsport's Thursday night.
Yeah.
GCW Bloodsport 6. So.
And there's also several shows going on over the weekend for you indie wrestling fans. I'm actually going to be attending one of them. I'm attending the GCW show on Friday night, not Bloodsport, but it's the Joey Janela. They renamed it. It's now our Spring Break, but I will be at that one. So I'll have my Joey Janela AEW shirt, and it'll be great. I'll send you guys a video.
That one guy wearing an AEW shirt, a GCW shirt.
Well, it's a Joey Janela shirt. So I've already got it picked out.
I think that's us done for the week, isn't it? We will.
Yeah, it's been a great week. Great show.
Enjoy WrestleMania next weekend.
I will, of course. Like I said, I'm like, you're not going to watch it. I probably wouldn't have watched it if I was at home either. I'm just doing it for the trip and to see fans again, several thousand, Yeah, guys, that's it.
Don't catch COVID.
Don't worry, I've been vaccinated. I've got my first shot. I get my second shot next week, the day after I get back. I'm very confident that I have been very safe throughout this whole year, and I'm going to continue being safe. And I don't talk to people, so I'll stay away from people. So, guys, enjoy your weekend. It's Saturday morning for us. You'll probably see us on Sunday. Enjoy your weekend, and maybe you'll see Beth next week, hopefully.
Bye.
Bye.